So the Las Vegas Aces have lost basically their entire team. Almost their entire team is gone from last year.
From WNBA championships to a team losing players, the Las Vegas Aces are in disarray. It's like witnessing a dynasty come to an end. Imagine this title team suddenly finding it difficult to maintain its roster. What is causing this startling decline? The most recent blow this season, guard Sydney Colson, who assisted in winning 2 championships, is departing for the Indiana Fever.
They've lost basically everyone. If we want to look at the Vegas Aces team from last year, who's still remaining? The MVP, Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray. That is it.
Why is this action being taken? Shocking the league as a whole with what's actually happening behind the scenes, let's examine what's going on and why it matters so much, because the Aces situation is more complicated than you may imagine and has the potential to completely alter our understanding of the WNBA.
The Aces, who are left with a shell of a roster right now. They have to fill out every other spot. They have a not top 5 roster in the W, and they have to fill out every other spot with minimum contracts.
It's similar to seeing a winning squad suddenly revert to a losing squad. Remember how they were the talk of the town and the team that everyone wanted to defeat? Now that they're barely holding on to their best players, you might be wondering who has departed. And the answer is essentially simply A.L. Wilson. Young Jackie and Chelsea Gray, that's the list. And it seems like someone reset the entire staff, leaving only these 3 to remain vigilant.
She got tired of Vegas. You know what? She wanted to get away from Becky Hammond and Asia Wilson too, probably, dog. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's what it's looking like. A lot of these players is trying to get up out of there. Tiffany Hayes was the latest one yesterday. No, I believe somebody else left after her. Now, I think Alyssa Clark might be gone. But make no excuses about it, bruh. These women want to get away from Vegas.
Because of A. Wilson, would players want to quit the Aces? There appears to be some friction in the locker room. Brewing from the outside looking and often comes across as all about herself, always in the spotlight, making it about me, me, me. Other players who want their own moment to shine may find that energy difficult to handle, which is why some are considering leaving, but this is where it gets really interesting. Why are all these players? It's not difficult to understand that players in this competition have 2 goals in mind: flashy championship rings and massive piles of money, but the Aces aren't providing much of either at the moment.
You got to understand what players play for. Players play for 2 things a lot of the time: money or rings, or a chance to winning a ring. If you are a max contract player, you are playing for money. If you are a role player, you're going to play for rings.
Take Sydney Colson and Alicia Clark, for instance. These women didn't just decide to go out for fun one day. They're chasing wins, and they don't see that happening in Vegas anymore. It's like watching your favorite restaurant lose all of its best chefs, and all of a sudden the menu doesn't look so good anymore. You might be thinking, but wait, aren't the Aces still a super team? That's a good one. Let me tell you, that ship has sailed. They have A.A. Wilson, yes, and she's a beast. But no matter how great she is, one player doesn't make a super team.
You might be saying, oh, like if you want to win, why would you ever leave the Aces? Because the Aces aren't that good. Simple as that. The amount of people that are saying, oh, the Aces are like this absolute super team still. Oh, they got Jewel Lloyd. Wow, they got someone who shoots 26% from 3 and 36% from the field. And he's like not struggling and unrivaled. For every good game, she has 2 bad games. Like, it's as simple as that. For every good Jewel Lloyd game, she has 2 bad games at this stage in her career.
And Chelsea Gray. Oh boy, let's talk about Chelsea for a moment. She used to be a player who made you hold your breath every time she had the ball, but now she's putting up numbers that will make you take notice. And not in a good way. 8 points and 5 assists per game isn't the Chelsea Gray we know and love. It's like watching your favorite superhero lose their abilities.
Chelsea Gray at her peak was unbelievable. I get it. But trying to argue Chelsea Gray is great in the year of 2025 is like trying to argue Chris Paul still an all-star level point guard because his name is Chris Paul. Because some people might have called him the point guard back in the day. I don't know if anyone did. But just because people call her point guard, you can scream point guard every time she makes a pass, does not mean Chelsea Gray is an all-star. Not only is Chelsea Gray not an all-star anymore, she's not a starter on a championship winning team.
Don't get me wrong, Jackie Young is holding it down, but when she's your second best player, you know that things have changed. Can you believe that we're even discussing the Aces? It's like witnessing a blockbuster movie franchise abruptly lose all of its stars, leaving you to question whether the next installment is even worth seeing. It seems like they were on top of the world yesterday, and now they're rushing to feel like a competitive squad.
They're going to really come to regret getting rid of Daisha Fair last year. I think they're really going to regret that, because getting rid of Daisha Fair will really help this roster right now.
Did you notice that the team made the startling choice to let go of an outstanding talent just last year? The shocking thing is that it's not only about losing players, it's also about why they're losing them. Daisha Fair was a promising rookie who was expected to be instrumental in helping the Las Vegas Aces get through this difficult time. The Aces have put themselves in a difficult financial situation with their contracts. They are the only WNBA team with 2 players on Supermax agreements, which may seem fantastic on paper, but are actually a financial nightmare. Let's examine why the Aces are unable to retain their best players. They are similar to a child who spent their entire allowance on sweets and is now unable to purchase lunch. It's all about the Aces and cold hard cash, and they're falling far short.
So, for me, the reason why everyone's leaving the Aces is 2 reasons. They can't afford to pay any of the players that were underpaid. They can't afford to give players enough of a role.
It's like they're trying to pay for 2 mansions with a studio apartment budget, and it just doesn't work. Now, you might be thinking, hey, having superstars is a good thing, right? Well, not when it leaves you with pocket money to fill out the rest of your roster. And that Jewel Lloyd contract. Oh boy, it's making things even worse. The Aces have done something that no other WNBA team has done.
And the Jewel Lloyd contract has screwed them. Jewel Lloyd, by the way, is basically a max contract, is a 200k player plus a 50k player, or like it's almost a minimum contract plus a max, plus a near max. Like the max contract that isn't a super max is 214k, and she's on 250k a year. Jewel Lloyd is making 50k more.
Did you know that Lloyd earns $250,000 annually, which is $50,000 more than Chelsea Gray? The Aces are paying top cash for talent, but they're forgetting that winning championships requires more than just a few stars.
Contracts were fair. Chelsea Gray's on about 130k. Jackie Young's on a supermax. They're the only team in the league with 2 supermax players. Heck, even Satu and Liz Thomas both waived their supermax rights. These other players and other teams, a lot of them, have waived their supermax rights to be able to get players in. Whereas the Aces have 2 players, are the only team in the W with 2 players on a supermax.
The answer is probably obvious. Can't they just cut some other players to make room? The Aces are so broke that they can't even afford good role players. They're scrounging through the bargain bin, and believe me when I say that's not where you find championship caliber talent. But here's where things get really crazy. Other teams are swooping in like vultures, offering former Aces players large sums of money. And guess what? Those players are jumping ship faster than rats on the Titanic.
And for role players, if you're not going to win, why would you stay there? You have to take a pay cut to go to Vegas. You're going to have to play for less money. So if you are one of those role players, you're not going to win a championship, there's no point. And the Aces got to the second round last year and got comfortably beaten by the Liberty, who are probably...
It's similar to seeing the slow-motion dismantling of a winning team. The Aces' financial catastrophe is forcing them to watch their talent leave. These are players who know how to win, have experienced championship glory, and are now getting ready for the competition. You may be wondering how bad things can get, but the Aces are like someone who spent all of their money on a fancy meal and now can't afford dessert. They have caviar taste with a fast food budget. Other WNBA teams are playing it smart. They have balanced salary distributions, which means they can keep their key players content while still having enough to draw in new talent. They appear to be playing checkers with half the pieces missing, or chess with the aces stuck.
You are not going to make a decision. Nobody is going to take a massive pay cut to not win. Like, for example, if you're Sydney Colson. Sydney Colson is going to make at least 100k and other stuff, like even which with going to Indiana, which she has lost from like the Aces based on a tourism thing, and who knows, Indiana could be paying their players more than the Aces did.
And believe me, it's going to get worse. The Aces are in such a bad financial situation that they may have to send in a search and rescue team. They are unable to hire new players, they are unable to keep their stars happy, and they are seeing their championship dream fade away more quickly than you can say salary cap. But the story is far from over.
Now, yesterday, the Indiana Fever let it be known that Sid pretty much is officially signed, man. She officially signed. She spoke with reporters, let everybody know why she has decided to join the Indiana Fever.
You won't believe it, but Sydney Colson just revealed something shocking that is rocking the NBA. Just when we thought the Aces couldn't possibly lose any more talent, their veteran champion decided to leave. The reason why a player would leave a winning team may surprise you. Sydney Colson isn't just any player, she's a seasoned veteran with a winning streak. In the 2023 Championship Series, when the pressure was on, she really came through with a clutch performance that could make or break a team. She shot an unbelievable 44% from the field.
23. Sydney is a proven veteran in our league, and throughout her career, she has delivered her teams in many big moments.
However, this is where things start to get truly intriguing. What's the deal? The Indiana Fever's general manager, Amber Cox, is ecstatic about Colson joining the team that has been rebuilding for years. It's like taking a key component from a championship puzzle and trying to fit it into a whole new picture.
She brings a championship pedigree to the Fever, adding depth to the point guard position. We have the utmost confidence in her ability to step into any situation and deliver on both ends of the floor.
But what precisely are they hoping for from her? Will she be the seasoned leader to mentor their youthful group? This is the topic that has everyone discussing. Colson's departure is a part of a broader exodus from the Aces. It's not a singular incident. Rather, it's a pattern that is betraying Aces supporters. Social media is exploding with dejected remarks and angry posts. It's similar like watching your favorite television program only to have each of the greatest characters eliminated one by one.
Aces fans are not happy that Sydney Colson has made her way.
However, what if Colson's move is about more than just basketball? What if it's about breaking out of someone else's shadow? It can be difficult to garner attention when playing with A.J. Wilson. Perhaps Colson is seeking an opportunity to establish herself as a leader, as she stated in a news release.
I was going to say, I am very excited for this new opportunity with the Indiana Fever. I know several players and coaches from the Fever already, and I trust what I know about them. Colson said, I'm excited to be a part of the vision that the staff has for this team, and I'm ready to get to work.
And let's not forget about the money. We know the Aces are struggling financially. Might it be that Colson accepted an offer from the Fever that she couldn't turn down? In the current WNBA, a sizable payout might alter everything. What does this imply for the Aces? It's not looking good. They're losing seasoned players, finding it difficult to maintain their roster, and seeing a crucial component of their championship puzzle disappear. It's like watching a dynasty fall apart in real time, but perhaps this is the wake-up call the Aces need, forcing them to reconsider their approach and come up with new ideas for assembling a competitive team without going over budget. Or perhaps this marks the beginning of the end for the Aces as we know them and the rise of the Indiana Fever impact.
Impact. I'm the one who started saying it, and all of a sudden everybody immediate impact. Yes, bro, that is the blueprint. You want to get somebody to come in and have immediate impact. Plug and play pieces. Some like these players they ain't really got to be coached up like that. All you got to do is drop play, drop the roster, put them in, let them do.
It's like witnessing a dynasty fall apart in front of our eyes. But here's the thing. The Las Vegas Aces have gone from being the best team in the world to one that is fighting to maintain its squad intact. Although Wilson and the Aces management are aware that they have significant obstacles in their future, they are not giving up easily and are committed to rebuilding. Wilson is taking the initiative to reassure everyone that they will find the right pieces to strengthen their core, but at this point, you have to ask yourself if it's too little, too late. The WNBA landscape is changing, and the Aces are in the midst of a storm. Will they be able to recover from this roster shakeup and financial mess? Or are we seeing the end of an era unfold in real time? In the meantime, let's face it, the Fever is threatening to win a championship, so they might just make an unexpected breakthrough.
Talk about this right now. What team in the league could go 4 quarters against the Fever? 4 long quarters against the Fever. We're not talking halves. Y'all can say what you want about lineup. We're talking you have to play 4 full quarters against this damn Fever team. Who beating them? for 4 quarters, bench included, dog. 4 quarters. Oh no.
There is no doubt that the Aces' predicament is altering the entire game. Other clubs are swooping in with offers of large sums of money and new opportunities. The WNBA is like a whole new world, and everyone is waiting to see what the Aces will do next. Rise from the ashes or turn into a warning story, time will tell. But wow, this is going to be an adventure.